Today I am discussing about combined effect of drugs. In this we are going to study two important topics. One is synergism and another one is the antagonism. Both are the 5-mark question. Anyone they will ask. First you should know a few definitions before going to details about this. First, you should know what is a receptor. Receptor is nothing but it's a binding site where the agonist and antagonist is going to bind. Then next question is what is an agonist? Agonist is similar, is an agent that binds to a receptor and shows a response similar to a physiological response. Okay. Then what do you mean by an antagonist? Antagonist, it will also bind to an receptor, but it does not have any action. Only the action of antagonist is to inhibit the effect of agonist. Okay. Now, what do you mean by a combined effect of drug? See, when you give two drugs together or simultaneously, one after the other, the effect may be a synergism or antagonism. Then what do you mean by synergism? Synergism means one drug, it will increase or potentiate the action of the other drug. Okay. Then what do you mean by antagonism? Antagonism, one drug inhibits the effect of the other drug. In pharmacology you can take it as antagonist is going to inhibit an effect of agonist. Okay. Then first we'll take in detail about synergism. Synergism are of three types. One is additive, summation and supraadditive. We'll go one by one. What is summation? Here two drugs, they shows the same response, but they'll act on the different mechanism. Here the mechanism is different, but the overall effect is same. So what you are going to get, one drug, it will increase or potentiate the effect of the other but acting on a different mechanism. Example is given here. In terms of mathematics, they have given 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Example, aspirin. Aspirin inhibit prostaglandin synthesis to show analgesia, but we have another drug, that is codeine. Codeine, it acts on the opioid receptor to show analgesia, but the overall effect is analgesia. The mechanism is different. Aspirin, it acts on it will inhibit the prostaglandin synthesis, but codeine, it acts on opioid receptor to show analgesia. Overall effect is analgesia, but the mechanism is different. Next we have additive. Here the overall effect is also same, the mechanism is also same. We have taken an example. Aspirin and paracetamol, both are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. How they will act means both they will inhibit the prostaglandin synthesis to show analgesia. Here the mechanism is also same and the oral effect is same. Mechanism is inhibition of prostaglandin synthesis and the oral effect is analgesia. Mechanism is also same and oral effect is also same. Next type is supraadditive effect. Here in case of summation and additive, if you look up a mathematical term, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, but here 1 plus 1 is equal to 3, means the whatever you will take an individual drug effect separately, two drugs, and you are given combinedly, the combined effect will be more than the individual effect. Okay, that's what they are explained here. Example is sulfamethoxazole plus trimethoprim. These both are antibiotics. The combination name is cotrimoxazole. They are combined in a 1:10 ratio. The oral effect is also more in this. This cotrimoxazole is used in respiratory tract infection, urinary tract infection. In case of HIV patient also, they are giving this drug. The next drug is combination is the levodopa plus carbidopa. See, these drugs are used in Parkinson's disease. In case of Parkinson's disease, there is a decrease in dopamine level. Directly we can't give dopamine, so that's why we are given its conjugate levodopa. Dopamine, if you give alone, it cannot able to cross the blood-brain barrier. It cannot able to increase the dopamine level in the cerebrospinal fluid or in the blood-brain, in central nervous system. Okay, so they are given this levodopa. Levodopa can able to cross the blood-brain barrier and increases dopamine level in the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, but what is the speciality of this levodopa? Means it will get destroyed in the peripheral region by an enzyme called dopa decarboxylase. But if you give carbidopa, it is an inhibitor of this dopa decarboxylase enzyme, so it will increase the level of dopamine in the peripheral region. Levodopa, it can able to cross the blood-brain barrier, increase in the cerebrospinal fluid the dopamine level. Carbidopa, it increases, it is an inhibitor of dopa decarboxylase. It increases the level of dopamine in the peripheral region. That's why they are given this combination. Next we'll move on to the antagonism. What do you mean by an antagonism? Means one drug, it will inhibit the effect of other drug. Okay, so you can tell in terms of pharmacology, antagonist is going to inhibit the effect of agonist. What is antagonist? The action of antagonist only to inhibit the effect of agonist. What is agonist? Is going to show a response by binding to a receptor. Agonist will also bind and antagonist will also, first they will bind to a receptor to show its action. Okay, there are different types of antagonism, 4 types mainly: chemical, physical, physiological and pharmacological antagonism, a receptor antagonism. We'll take one by one. First is the physical antagonism. Here mainly it's based on the physical property. Example is given: alkaloids. What are alkaloids? Means these are nitrogenous base, usually insoluble in water. Okay, activated charcoal, when you give when you are given in case of alkaloid poisoning, first it will adsorb, means the alkaloid particle will come and adhere on the activated charcoal, so that it will inhibit the further absorption of the alkaloid into the body. So that's why they are used in alkaloid poisoning. Next one is the chemical antagonism. When two drugs react chemically, usually they form an inactive product. Examples are given: potassium permanganate, it oxidizes alkaloid. Physical antagonism also, there is an alkaloid poisoning, what we are given activated charcoal. But when you look of the chemical antagonism, we are given potassium permanganate. When you give in case of alkaloid poisoning as a gastric lavage. Lavage means just they are going to tell a patient to drink this preparation, then they start vomiting this. Okay, then next is the tannins. Tannins also used in alkaloid poisoning. They form an alkaloid tannate, the compound they are going to form. Next one is the chelating agent. What do you mean by chelating agent? Means, see, these are the rings. They are used, these chelating agents, when they are used in case, they are mainly used in case of heavy metal poisoning. They react with the this metallic ion. Chelating agents, they react with metallic ion and they form a ring structure. That ring structure is easily excreted through the urine. That's why they are used in heavy metal poisoning. Example for heavy metal like lead, arsenic, mercury, in those cases they are using. Example for chelating agent: British anti-levisite, calcium disodium acetate. These are the 2 examples. Next one is the nitrates. Nitrates mainly they are used for the treatment of angina. They can be used in case of cyanide poisoning, because it forms when nitrates react with the hemoglobin, it forms a methemoglobin. Then methemoglobin react with the cyanide and form a cyanomethemoglobin. That compound is easily excreted through the urine. Drugs may react when mixed in the same syringe or infusion bottle. So that's why you should not give these drugs. So in case if you want to give, you have to use a separate infusion bottle or separate syringe to give a drug. Example is thiopentone sodium. It is an skeletal muscle relax. It is an general anesthetic, I mean in case of major surgery they will use succinylcholine chloride. It is a skeletal muscle relaxant, like after surgery to cause muscle, like during surgery to cause muscle relaxation they will use this. Penicillin G, it's an antibiotic, and succinylcholine chloride. Heparin plus penicillin. Heparin is an anticoagulant. Penicillin antibiotic. Tetracycline, streptomycin, these also antibiotic. And hydrocortisone. Along with heparin, cortisone is a corticosteroid. So you should not combine any of these. Here I am given so many examples. One or two you can remember here. Next one is the physiological or functional antagonism. See here, two drugs, they act on a different physiological function, but the overall effect is in opposite direction. Act by different mechanism, but the opposite mode effect. The overall effect is opposite on the same physiological function. Here they are going to act on a different mechanism or a different receptor, but the overall effect is same opposite on the same physiological function. That's why they call it as a pharmacological effects in opposite direction. Examples are given here. Histamine and adrenaline on bronchial muscle and BP. Histamine causes hypotension and adrenaline causes hypertension or rise in BP. And bronchial smooth muscle, adrenaline causes bronchodilation, histamine causes bronchoconstriction. Glucagon and insulin and blood sugar level. Glucagon, usually it increases blood sugar level, insulin it decreases blood sugar level. The last one is the receptor antagonism. Whatever I told first, antagonist, it going to blocks the action of agonist, right? Antagonist is going to inhibit the effect of agonist. There are two types of receptor antagonism. One is reversible, it's also called competitive, and irreversible, non-competitive. We'll take one by one. I'll go with a diagram. See here, the receptor, there is a site on the receptor, both agonist and antagonist. Here we are using the term competitive antagonism because we are talking about the competitive antagonism. So that's why we are using a term competitive antagonist. Agonist and competitive antagonist, they bind both same site on the receptor because they are structurally similar. And antagonist, competitive antagonist is going to inhibit the effect of agonist. But if you increase the concentration of agonist, you can able to reverse the effect of antagonist. Means you are going to get the effect. I'll go with the slides. Reversible antagonism or competitive antagonism. This inhibition is commonly observed with antagonists that bind reversibly to the same receptor site as that of an agonist. See here you can see they mention the word reversibly because if you increase the concentration of agonist, you can able to get the response. This type of inhibition can be overcome by increasing the concentration of agonist. Example is atropine is a competitive antagonist of acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, it's a neurotransmitter in the parasympathetic nervous system. Atropine, it's going to block the actions of acetylcholine. But if you increase the concentration of acetylcholine, you will get the response. Because acetylcholine usually degraded by an enzyme called acetylcholine esterase. Next step is the irreversible antagonism. Here what is the speciality means? There is a one side where the agonist is going to bind. We have another side the antagonist is going to bind. That site is called allosteric site. And the antagonist we use the term non-competitive antagonist. Here they does not have any chemical similarity or structural similarity. If you increase the antagonist non-competitive antagonist inhibit the action of agonist. But if you increase the concentration of agonist also, you are not going to get the response here, because they are not antagonist and agonist, they are not binding same side here. And the antagonist, non-competitive antagonist, it binds on another side, that is allosteric side. That's why it's also called allosteric antagonism. Okay. And the non-competitive antagonist, like once you increase the concentration of agonist also, you don't get the response, because the non-competitive antagonist, it binds very tightly or with the covalent bonds, so that's why you can't reverse it. We'll go with the slides. Irreversible antagonism. It occurs when the antagonists dissociate very slowly or not at all from the receptors. Result that no change when the agonist applied. Antagonist effect cannot be overcome even after increasing the concentration of agonist. Okay, but like in case of reversible antagonism, once you increase the concentration of agonist, you will get the response. But here, in case of irreversible or non-competitive antagonism, once you increase the concentration of agonist also, you don't get the response. Here there is a table that's given whatever we discussed till now, competitive and non-competitive comparison they have given here. When you look at the competitive, antagonist binds with the same receptor as the agonist. Where the receptor side agonist is going to bind, same site only antagonist will also bind. But here non-competitive, they binds to another site of receptor, that is allosteric site. Antagonist, competitive antagonism, antagonist resembles chemically with the agonist. But here in non-competitive, there is no resemblance. And in case of competitive antagonism, maximum response can be attained by increasing dose of agonist. See, when you increase the concentration of agonist, you can able to reverse the action of antagonist. But here, if you increase the concentration of agonist also, non-competitive, you don't get the response. Intensity in competitive, intensity of response depends on concentration of both agonist and antagonist. Here response, non-competitive responses depends only on the concentration of antagonist. Examples for competitive, acetylcholine and atropine I already discussed. And next one is the morphine. Morphine is an opioid analgesic. The antidote or antagonist that we are using in case of morphine poisoning is the naloxone. And in case of non-competitive antagonism, example is diazepam. It's a benzodiazepine. It's used in so many cases. One is as an sedative hypnotic in case of insomnia, and also as an anti-epileptic in case of epilepsy also they are using, and also in case as a general anesthetic also they are using. Okay. Anything you can remember, either the slides with the competitive and non-competitive antagonism, or just you can remember this table. Both are enough. Thank you.